I am so excited about this assignment. It gives you a chance to look at architecture, and architecture is something we are experiencing probably as we sit at the computer and look at this assignment. Architecture is just one of those cool divisions of the humanities because it's both practical. We need shelter. We need a place to do our work, and then it's also can be so moving and just kind of change the way we can interact in this space. I mean, just think of the way have you ever had a building that you just walked into and you just kind of felt differently? I've definitely had experiences where I've been moved by things made of steel and concrete, which is kind of interesting to think about. This one place I'm thinking about right now is we have this library in downtown Phoenix called the Burton Bauer Library. And it doesn't look like any library I grew up looking at. I grew up in Philadelphia, and so things had a very classical feel, I guess very traditional library-ish. This library is just, it looks different, and when you're in it, the main light source is natural light, and I can't tell you the difference of working in a space that is illuminated by the sun versus artificial light. It just, I don't know, it kind of like motivates you more. So things like that, doing things differently, having different experiences. I want us to think about that. I want us to be mindful of the places we are and how they move us. And we get the chance today to look at something I call masterworks. And a masterwork, put simply, is something that the architectural community has agreed this is very good. And I'm going to give you a chance to pick what you want to look at. So in section 1, first start by looking at the image of these 3 things. Maybe you've already been there. You know that Vietnam War Memorial, Disney Concert Hall, and the Salk Institute. And then with each building, I have a short video because it's not enough kind of to just look at a picture of a building. What's great about these videos, it kind of takes you around and you can see like the lighting and the shape of things because buildings are 3-dimensional, right? So to put it simply, we have a war memorial, a concert hall, and a scientific institute, basic places. And you get to see what these master architectural designers and architects have done in these spaces. So first, watch and look and decide who you want to commit to. Then I want you to go and research and find out who the architect is. Won't be hard to find. And then think about the function of the work. And function is, what is the space supposed to do? For example, the Taj Mahal was built as a mausoleum for Shah Jahan's wife. When she passed, it was a big heartbreak of his, and so he built this mausoleum to kind of celebrate her life. And so its function is simply to be a mausoleum. But what else it does, it's just so many things, such a beautiful work. So what is your thing supposed to simply do? And then what's your personal reaction to work? What do you think about it? Be honest. And think about why you're having that reaction. Is it the materials? Is it the site? Is it the construction system? It's helpful to look back at your book and the section on architecture to help you lead in these conversations. There's great examples there. And then I want you to pick 2 details. It can be structure, materials, contact space. There's an example on page 113 for what I'm talking about. And analyze it for me. How do these things work in the space, and why do they do what they do? For example, the library I was talking about before, the decision to illuminate the space using natural light. That completely changes the way the space works. And then how is the design and the structure unique? Now take the Taj Mahal again. It's a mausoleum. It's a place where you put a dead body. Graveyard. Simple, right? It's a grave. It's a big, expensive grave, but simply that's what it is. How the pictures I'm giving you are architecturally unique. What would the way a mausoleum normally look if I was talking about the Taj Mahal? Or how is the way a concert hall usually looks, or what is the way a scientific research center usually looks? When you say those words in your head, what are you picturing? And then how is this different? Give me 2 examples. You'll find more than 2. I mean, Vietnam War Memorial. How does a war memorial usually look, and how does that look? Why is it different? And you're going to have help with this if you watch those videos. In section 2, we're not going to look at the private residence. So you've looked at the big public buildings, and now let's bring it down. Pick 3 residents that you'll find in the United States. Just like I picked 3 buildings you can find in the United States, hoping that maybe someday you'll go to these places, who knows. So we have Falling Water, Zeros Residence, and Farnsworth House. A little short video on each. Pick the one you want to write about. Do a little research, and you're kind of following the same pattern as above. You know, when you picture a house, what does a house look like? And then how is this different? And you won't have any trouble answering these questions. And now we're going to go back on reflection. So pick an architect from section 1 or section 2. It doesn't have to be the architect you chose to write about. You have 6 to choose from. And then Google that architect and find out something else that they've done. They've all done more than one work. And write the name of the work that you think is interesting, something besides what we looked at before. And then tell me how that building is working to stimulate an emotional or intellectual response in you. Now, you might not have thought of buildings this way before. I get that. But by watching the multimedia for this week, those little 2-3 minute videos about architecture, that's going to help you get comfortable with the language of talking about architecture, and then having your textbook open. That's going to help you get there. And I hope you enjoy this. I think it's a lot of fun, and you'll never look at a building the same. And who knows, when you have the chance to design your own space and hire an architect, you'll know what to hire. And again, if you have questions, contact your instructor.